What is Jordan here? It's going on, guys, and this is another video. Today, if you haven't already guessed from the title, we're going to be talking about ideas for making passive income. And I've been thinking about this for a very long time because someone suggested it to me a while back. I think it was Cordelia. Shout out to Cordelia again for another video idea. But I've literally been sitting on it thinking, like, what do people really want to hear? Because I'm in the camp where, like, I see myself as like advanced, like I know quite a bit. I'm balancing all these different things. Other people, like, if I say, oh, you should try, this idea, which in my head is a bit more, I guess, advanced. But like, I don't really want to, it's a lot. It sounds like a lot of work. When I say passive income, I literally mean like, I set it up on one day and it generates money forever. I don't want to have to do anything. And I've been like in a weird zone where I'm like, how do I like what can I set up on one day and have it just generate infinite money forever? And what are things that are more advanced, more elite, more interesting that people with a bit more time on their hands, a bit more effort can similarly, I guess, set up one time and generate money from. But of course, appreciating that's going to take more than a day to set up and build. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the two camps. I've got a couple of ideas in both camps. The easy come, easy go idea, and hard to build, but I guess making more money from a high potential. And then yeah, we'll go across those two throughout the duration of this video. Before I start, I'm gonna, for the first time in my entire 100 video YouTube history, I'm gonna start by saying that if you haven't already, smash the like button for YouTube algorithm, subscribe, hit the bell, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, do all the things in all the places because I realized that I haven't really been doing that much and I haven't been growing as much either. So I think for the sake of all your friends and family and people around you that you think will benefit from this video, let's get this out to them. Let's actually start growing. Let's start taking it seriously. And with all that said, let's go. So we're gonna start off on this side in the easy camp and the things you can literally set up today, start in like a couple of seconds or maybe like an hour, and generate infinite money from in some capacity. And for that, I have a couple of ideas down, but I want to start by saying that when I say generate infinite money, I don't literally mean money will appear in your hands. Like in many ways, I follow the philosophy that a dollar saved is a dollar made. If you can save money, you're technically making money at the same time. Because like, if you don't spend that dollar, that pound, you've made it back through some laws of physics. So most of these ideas are coming from like saving money and I guess making your money work for you in ways that you probably already know, but haven't really utilized and exploited properly yet because you haven't seen this video through to the end. Like, why haven't you watched this to the end yet? What's wrong with you? So the first thing that comes to me, most obviously, the first thing that comes to my head as an easy solution is interest rates, and not just interest rates, but also like dividends and investing things that we're going to go into a bit more detail in a second as well. So fundamentally, interest rates. If you put money in a bank, most of them will pay you some degree of interest. And even though we all know that, we don't all realize that there are some accounts that pay you more than others. And some banks, especially I don't know about in other countries, but in the UK, I talked about this in the past as well, but a lot of banks, I mean, banks fundamentally are a business. They operate like a business. So they need to get more customers through the door so they can make money off of you, right? So a lot of them will even have promotions where if you switch from, Santander to Barclays, Barclays will give you like £150 just there on the spot for switching in the first place. And I don't know if that Barclays deal still exists. A lot of banks still have it. Like HSBC, I think, have 125. First Direct have 150, I think. Halifax, last time I checked, have like 75. Like all these banks offer you free money just for joining them. And in many ways, that's passive because, yeah, you kind of put work in having to change bank account, but it takes what, an hour, couple of minutes, and you get free money from it. So take a look around. And that's not even the main point. That's not even what I'm trying to say. Like, that's a bonus tip. But the main thing is that these banks will give you interest. If you're currently holding your money in an account, like just because most people don't even think about the account they have, they just, oh, I'll join Santander because it's near my house, or I'll join Halifax because my mum's on it. They don't actually have a reason for banking with these banks. So take a look around. If you would, just mindlessly spending, tapping away, you don't really know what you're doing, just putting money in, that's kind of your account. Realize that you're probably not making the most out of that account, and that some accounts maybe offer you cash back on your bills and stuff. They might give you, as I said, free money. They might have access to savings accounts that give you very very high interest rates or relative to the interest rate margin that we're talking about right now. And to be fair, if you want, I can talk. I can put this in another video. I'll put down. I'll make actually no. I will. I'll write it down. I'll make a note of it to make another video in the future about the best bank accounts out there that are paying the most interest. But it's definitely worth looking into. Like you can start making. I think Santander at the moment. Well, I think it's changed because of coronavirus. But before the coronavirus, it was like if you have more than 3 grand in there, or for the student account, if you have more than £300 in there, they'll pay you 3% interest, which is very, very high given that inflation is like 2%. And the average for most bank accounts and even savings accounts is like 1.2, or the bank accounts are like 0.5, 0.4. So that's a very high rate that you're earning money back. And technically speaking, it's passive. All you got to do is have money in that account and you get it for free, infinitely generating cash until the variable rate changes to zero and then you don't get anything. But that's the most intrinsically, like, that's when I think of like passive income, it's like interest rates. Use that. Another thing, which is a bit more advanced on that, it's not quite enough to be in the advanced pot on this side. It's still simple, but it's something that is a bit more complex, and that's using dividends. So I'm not going to explain stocks and investing in depth, but some stocks, typically the ones that are, like Johnson and Johnson, or companies that have been around for years and years and years, like Apple, that maybe aren't growing. Well, to be fair, Apple is growing ridiculously, but some companies don't grow as much. So to make you want to buy that stock and hold it, even though it's not going to grow as much, they say, look, we'll pay you a dividend, you'll get a cut of our earnings. And these dividend rates, while they're quite low at the moment, because of course, that um, most companies still pay it, and 9 times out of 10, even though some of the dividend rates are cut, they're still paying out some amount of dividends. And again, it's passive income. All you got to do is hold the share, hold some amount of that company, and they'll just pay you back. Some of them are annually, some of them are biannually, some of them are like every quarter. So you literally just get paid for holding a stock. And some of these companies, like of course I said Apple, I mentioned Apple. Apple, not only are they growing and paying out, not only are they growing, but they're also again paying out a dividend. So you're getting your, every year you're getting your dividend pay, your piece of the apple pie. But the Apple stock is also growing astronomically. Like whenever you decide to sell it, you're going to make capital gains on that as well. If you buy it at a lower price and you sell it at a higher price, like again, I'm not going to go into investing in too much in this video, but you can make a lot of money through dividends. Typically, you actually get more your dividend rates. Like I think Johnson and Johnson, I think I keep mentioning them. I think they're like 7%, 8%. I think Disney are pretty high as well. Whereas Santander one is 3%. Like and that's that's one of the highest bank accounts I've ever seen. Like 3% interest. I think NatWest nationwide, I think in the UK they also have, if for the first year you get like 5% interest, which again is good. That's for the first year. After that it's 1%. Like if you want consistent, well, semi-consistent, 8% returns, 5% returns. Look into stocks that pay out good dividends, and obviously do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice, but just knowing that there's dividend income out there is something that is worth considering. Now for the students, like as I mentioned before, I said a dollar saved is a dollar made. And for the students out there, which is, to be fair, most of my audience, looking at the demographics, but the easiest way to make money infinitely is to utilize student discounts and other discounts that you're eligible for. Maybe like if you're, I don't know, armed forces, or if you're a medic, you have the NHS discount card. But utilizing these discounts is so, so, so important, because it means you're going to save anywhere from like 10 to 50% on your purchases at, the big stops, the big shops. And again, even though technically you're not making any money, you would have been spending way more if you didn't use a student discount than you will if you are. And if you think about it, like I've mentioned this in another video, but I'm going to bring up again here, like the way I kind of process my spending is like if I go out and I buy a top for £50, like in my head it's like £50 is gone. So even though I get 10% student discount, I only actually pay 45. In my head I'm still thinking 50, 50, 50, 50. So that £5 that's in my account anyway, I'm going to put into the stock market or into a savings account or into, I'll put it away, out of sight, out of mind. Because I'm not going to be like, oh, I save money here, so let me spend it on something else. It's like, no, I save money, so I'm putting it in the stock market. If I order a pizza and it comes and I get two, I don't return it. I say, look, I've got two pizzas. Like, you make the most out of what you get, because you can't. This is something that I talked about in another video, but it's like you can't always predict when things are going to be good and when things are going to be bad. Like these apps, these student discount apps can decide tomorrow. So you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. You don't get discount anymore. And if that day comes, suddenly you're paying the full amount again. It's like the way I see it, my perspective on the issue, of course, think about what you're spending, try and get money off of it, and then the money you save, put that away, invest that, save that or something. And student discounts is one thing that's eligible for all students, of course. The NHS one is for like, most NHS workers, armed forces, obviously for armed forces. But there are several things out there that people are eligible for that they just don't know about. Like me, I live in a West London borough, undetermined West London borough, and in my borough they have a card for all residents in the area. So like everyone who lives in the borough of X has like an X first card where everywhere you go, well, not everywhere, but like some stores, some parking spaces, some areas, it's like you tap your card and you get a discount. And it's like, why would I not pay half the price? If like you're telling me like, oh, by the way, you can pay less if you want, you just have to use this. It's like, okay, I'm gonna use it. And again, a dollar saved is a dollar made. Like the money I save, I put back into savings, investing, whatever. And that, technically speaking, is a source of passive income because you don't have to do anything. Well, you kind of do one time, request the card, download the app, we do what you got to do, and then you just keep saving, 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 saving. Another thing that is pretty useful that I'm going to put a link. To be fair, as much as I can, I'm going to put as many links down below as possible just for the sake of it. But one app or one plugin, I should say, that I use a lot or all the time is Honey. Like Mr. Beast talked about it, a couple of YouTubers talked about it. It's often like thrown around. But Honey is literally a Chrome. Well, I think it's on Safari as well. But you plug in Honey, plug in, download the software onto your browser, and anytime you shop online, it will scan the whole internet for codes, for vouchers, for discounts, and I'll automatically apply it at checkout so you save money on your purchases. And that follows the same philosophy from before. It's like you're saving money. And the money you save, it will tell you, like obviously with any checkout site, it's like code applied, save 50, and then it will say how much your balance was and how much your total is now readjusted. So you know what you saved. You know that, before you check out, you know that you're gonna pay £100. You just happen to have a code eligible for you at the time that saves you X amount of percent. Put that money in savings, put that in the stock market, like follow the philosophies, people. It will make you a lot of money in the long run. And yeah, Honey's a good one as well, of course, student discount. And if you're bothered, like I don't really search hot UK deals, all these other things. There's like Groupon out there that exist. A lot of cashback sites exist, like Top Cashback, um, something else I'll put in the description below as well. But it's like you can just use these. And again, it's free money. All you got to do is like go into Top Cashback, click onto so if you're shopping through, I think, Amazon, you can like go through Top Cashback to get to Amazon, and it's kind of like an affiliate link. So when you click on it through their website, they get a commission. So when you buy your stuff from Amazon, they get like 10% of that, and then they give you back 5%. So they make money from your commission and then give you some of it back. So you go through to use their site. So everyone wins. But it's like these sites exist. It's just about using them. And while going on to Top Cashback every day isn't necessarily passive because you have to consistently do it and remember to do it as well. Honey literally is passive. You go into the website, it shows up on its own. Student discount, most of the time you can just log in. Like ASOS, you can log in a student account, and whenever you buy clothes from there, like I don't even shop on ASOS, but I know this, so it's like yeah, utilize what's available to you, and a dollar saved is a dollar made. So here we are, 1 week later, wearing the same shirt because we've got to rep the gang. Shout out Arsenal. Welcome Partey to the club. It's a big time. It's a great time to be alive for an Arsenal fan. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's continue where we left off at the end of the last part of this video, which to you guys is like 30 seconds ago, but to me it's literally like a year. Anyway, we were talking about, student discounts, Top Cashback, things like that. All these apps that you can use apps and websites and plugins you can just use to make money without actually doing anything. And there are okay, one's a plugin, which is Honey, which I already mentioned. But there are two other services that I use very, very frequently on my phone, which is still currently in Android. If you saw the last video, but uh, two apps that I use all the time basically to make as much money as I can, and following the same philosophy of a dollar saved is a dollar made, and then reinvesting that saved revenue is, I'll talk about them both. I'm not going to go into depth because obviously, again, nothing that I talk about is an association or a sponsorship or branding or anything. It's literally just things that I use on my own frequently, and I can talk freely about, confidently about, because I use them and I know how good the service is and how much I myself benefit from them. And that follows through into the hard section as well. We're going to talk about later. Like none of the things that I talk about are just random things I read online. These are all things that I myself do, and I can talk about in extreme length. Which I guess, to be fair, if you do want full length videos for any of these topics, let me know down below in the comments, and I'll put the research in, put the time in as you think about the full the depth of how these things work and how I think you can best benefit from them. But enough of that for now. Let's talk about the two apps that I mentioned. One of them is called Sweatcoin. One of them is called Airtime Rewards. Now, let's talk about them both in a bit of detail. So Sweatcoin is like a cryptocurrency where you literally download it, and every time you walk, you step, it calculates your steps using like GPS and Bluetooth data, and it converts those steps into a cryptocurrency known as Sweatcoins, which you can then in turn transfer or spend on the in-app marketplace on Generally, it's like rewards and products like toothpaste, toothbrushes, shaving products. It's always these like weird random things. To be fair, but there is a marathon. It's called a marathon reward. There's a couple of them to be fair, where it's like 20,000 points is £1,000. You can exchange it straight up for cash. And even though you need to have 20,000 points to do that, which is probably like 6 to 18 months of usage, if depending on how frequently you use the app. Maybe like athletes or people that walk a lot or run a lot will generate that in a quick space of time. But for me, it's taken me like a year and a half to get even close to that. So it depends on depends on who you are, how frequently you use it. And of course, for me in this situation, the 6 months of lockdown heavily impacted that. But you catch my drift. Like if you just have it, you generate money, and if you consider that 20 coins is approximately a pound, you can kind of see that how quickly it can build up when you spend. Like, to be fair, my average day during lockdown is like 1.6, 1.5 sweat coins. But in a normal day, it'll be like between 8 and 20, depending on how much walking I did. And if you're making 20 coins a day, 20,000 is what, 1,000 days? That's 3 years. That is a lot of time to make 20,000 to make £1,000. But either way, it is free. And again, as I said, I don't do much walking. I kind of like walk to campus if I'm going to uni and I come back. I don't really go jogging or walking around or gym or so things like that where you can generate more money just by doing your regular routine of walking. So Sweatcoin is very good. I think there are a lot of free stuff you can get on there. There are loads of marathon rewards. Obviously, I mentioned the 20,000 for £1,000 in cash, but you can also get a Samsung TV is here. 25,000 will take you to Disney World. Disney World, so that's Florida for 5 days. Like that's there are a lot of long term rewards. B&O headphones as well, so it's pretty decent. And there are a fair amount of cool things you can get from there. Again, for free. And again, the link for this for both Sweatcoin and the next thing I'll talk about airtime rewards and Honey, all this other stuff will also be in the description below. All of them, well, the ones that are eligible for referral links will also be referred down there. So if you, I guess it's important to know that you're going to be, I will somewhat benefit from you clicking those links if you do decide to use it in the end anyway, because they have referral codes stuff like that. But fundamentally, like it's up to you if you want to use it or not. I'm just going to talk about it anyway, and and yeah, you do what you want to do. But the next one again is airtime rewards. So airtime rewards is something that works with EE, O2, Vodafone, giffgaff, and all these different telecommunication companies. And how it works is similar to Top Cashback, but it works directly. I mean, it's just way better. So you literally download the app on your phone. You connect your credit card, your bank card, your account, whatever, to your Airtime Rewards account, and then every time you spend money in a in a high street, like a well-known high street brand retail store, you get like 10 to 20% cash back, and it's literally just by connecting your card and then spending on it. Like there's no other steps. You connect your card and you go out to Argos, Superdrug, Boots, Papa John's, like any of these spaces on the high street. You spend your money and you get cash back. Like simple as it's very very simple, very very easy. But I guess the catch or the caveat is that the money you get from airtime rewards isn't like redeemable as cash. Well, maybe it is now. I don't know. I haven't checked it in a little while, but it's redeemable through your, as I said, the telecommunication company. So if you're paying monthly with EE, now you can get your cash back. You pay off some of your bill with that, and then you pay back less each month because the cash back accommodates for that. So there are several ways around it. It's pretty cool. Like if you have a typical monthly payment structure for your phone for your data and minutes and text package, this is a way to subsidize that and to utilize your typical high street spending anyway. Like if you're someone that goes out on high street a lot and buy a lot of clothes, you go Papa John's frequently every week or whatever. This is a cool way to put that money to work and say, even though I'm wasting money, buying a pizza that when I got rice at home, like at least you know that some portion of that is going back to paying off your phone bill or utilize, doubling down the student discount as well. Some of it's got like you can get a nice little network going on, connecting all these things to to make some money back. So that's just something you can think about. Again, the links for both of these things will be down below in the description, and both of them will be referral codes. So yeah, just know that. But I guess going back to the final topic as well. Before that, when I was talking about subscriptions and student discounts, you can actually find ways to utilize that better as well. I'm not going to go in depth in it because I don't think it's completely ethical. Like I don't do it myself, but I know some of my friends who they use subscriptions. For example, Spotify. The normal Spotify structure is like £9, 9.99 per month, but for students it's 4.99. And I know friends who just use Apple Music anyway, but with their friends who aren't students, they say, "Look, I'll give you half price if you just give me like £1 a month." And again, you didn't hear it from me. This isn't like the most ethical way to do it. I don't even know if it's completely legal, but I know there are ways to utilize your discounts and your subscription services that are available to you, and not even necessarily to, get a quick buck back on your own. If you just say to your friend, look, you can get it for half price if you just use my code, like your community as a collective, everyone benefits. And going by the same philosophy of a dollar made, a dollar saved is a dollar made. If, for example, you're giving your parents half price Spotify so they can listen to music as well, or the family package, which would make more sense. But either way, it's like helping, giving them like your discount codes at high street shops that benefit from your student discount. All of you save together, all of you as a collective will have more money to spend at the end of each month, which you will equally benefit from, especially if you're, a teenager or early 20s living at home and your parents do like most of the shopping, for example. If they save money through you and like the high streets and stuff like that, they're going to have more money to spend in the shops or in a mortgage or faster internet or Christmas presents, whatever it is, however you want to interpret it in your head. Like there are very, very, very selfless acts can equally be perceived as selfish if you consider that there are benefits mutually across the board for everyone, which can equally impact you. So those are essentially all of the easy set up in the day kind of tactics you can use to save or to make passive income. I'm going to briefly talk about the harder things because the more advanced things will take way more time to discuss, and I think they each deserve their own video where I go into it at length, how I myself use it and how I think you guys would benefit from these structures. But to be very brief, like there are three ways, I guess, to consider like work, and I'll explain in a sec what makes it more passive. But there's selling your time for work, which is like literally any other job, which by definition isn't passive because you've got to put your time in to make that money. There's selling your time to like I guess digital products, which is technically still in that same camp of like selling time for work, but you put the time in once and then you profit from that forever, which is where the passive stuff comes into it as well. But I think the third one, and I think the most important thing, which isn't technically selling something, but uh it's a world, it's an environment for passive income, and that is branding. Now, what is branding? Branding is fundamentally, why people buy iPhones because irrespective of how good it is, because of this Apple with a bite on it, you're going to assume quality, you're going to assume innovation, and you're going to buy it because the brand of Apple is so dominant and so powerful. So branding, like if you put hours in, you put work in, you learn things, you build a brand. Like I've done this in several ways, of course, of YouTube, like how you're watching me right now. I've got a blog on Medium that I used to make money. I sell things on eBay that people, my store is recognized on eBay. People buy things from me as a seller. Like if you can build that brand, if you can build that customer trust, if you can build um that premium, like make yourself look or like a compelling salesman, a compelling YouTuber, a compelling blogger, you're effectively putting yourself in a position where irrespective of what you do, and I don't mean that in a devious way either, but irrespective of what you do, you're very likely to profit from it in some way, be it social status or money or views or whatever, because you're putting yourself in line to to receive that positive praise, that money, that whatever you want to interpret it. So again, that's a big thing. That there's so many things I can go into in terms of branding. But what do I do specifically? Of course, YouTube, which I don't make any money from. But what I could potentially do in the future is merchandise. Might make some item of clothing, make like phone cases or a mug. I haven't thought about it in depth, as you can tell. But branding and using your brand to sell merchandise, for example, is a great way to make passive income because even though yes, you have to put work in to build a brand in the first place and to design the merchandise you're going to sell, once you create that store, again, you just make money infinitely if you've done it right. Once you start making those t-shirts, it's an infinite generator of cash if you've done it right because people will find your videos, they'll find this product and then they'll buy it. I think blogging is a bit different because I've done it myself on Medium. I made a site in the past through WordPress, but it's very difficult to make money that way because it's still technically passive, it's still technically doable, but you have to put a lot more work into it. You have to like sign up to Google AdWords or even reach out and find your own advertisers. You need to build the site and keep maintaining the site. Paying sometimes like you're paying for the hosting site. I'm not going to go into it in depth, but basically a server that has to be on a server, and you only really get if so many people come in at once, you can crash the server and it kind of ruins your site. Whereas like Medium, which is what I'm using now, is obviously ran and maintained by the guys at Medium, and you just have an account there. So you have less power, you have less flexibility on that front, but it makes it so much easier. It means that all you got to do is think about making your account and then actually writing, and then that's kind of it. It's literally just the writing part of it. So it makes it easier. Me myself, like again, if you want a bigger video and has it money in medium, I can do that. But how I've done it in the past is I think about trending topics or big topics or things that are where the audience already exists, where the hype's already there, but also like more importantly, things that I myself have my own opinion on, I have my own knowledge on, and it's not just me talking smack for the sake of trying to leverage an active audience. It's also like the fact that, Bitcoin, like Bitcoin is a big one to be fair, because my first ever story to generate big bucks was called like I explained blockchain to my 6-year-old brother. That's because me myself, like I'm interested in tech, I'm interested in finance, I know a bit about Bitcoin and blockchain. And as Bitcoin was like rising in 2018, I'm like, you know what? Let me just write about it, explain it to people that don't already know what it is, and then boom, 20,000 views, like 300 pounds, and again, like that's pounds. Medium is an American site, so it's generated in dollars. So I actually made a lot more money than you would think from that one post. And that's not just £300 that I made, because I made about $600 I think. But there's like fees and stuff. There's transferring it through to Stripe. People take their own little cut as well, and then PayPal, and then currency conversion and all this stuff. Like like that's £300 of straight profit. That's not even like revenue. That's like literally straight profit. And even when you think about it, all I had to do is sit down, write some stuff, and leverage that community. I didn't even like put much thought into it, much emphasis onto it. And I should say that that's obviously not how it works. You don't just every day just think of like a trending topic and just boom, put out a video, put out a blog post, millions of pounds. That's not how it works. I've noticed that it very much follows like the 80-20 principle, where 80% of the money I've made from Medium comes from like 20% of the stories I've written. But either way, it's something that again, if you put a bit of work into, if you learn how to write, you build a bit of an audience, you build a bit of a brand, you learn about a topic, you write about it in the right way, you structure it right, communicate it right. There's a lot of money to be made there, and there's a lot of evidence to suggest that people out there make a living just by doing this, just by blogging, just by YouTubing. Of course, that YouTube is out there, just by selling merchandise, just by owning a store. Like there are so many ways that you can leverage fundamentally a brand is what I'm trying to say. Fundamentally a community, people that want to listen, people that an audience, people that trust you. And there are several ways where I'm not saying this so you can go out and just start cashing in from people, trying to think, oh, how can I make money from those people over there? That's not how you should approach it. It should just be about being involved in the community that you find yourself in. But it's understanding that there are ways you can make money from that if you needed to, and if you provide value for them as well. And by doing such a thing, you can effectively create a cash cow of passive income where you make it once and it just lives there on the internet, in this space to be found over and over again by new people consistently, and you can generate money from doing that. Be it writing a book. I haven't done that myself, but you can write a book. You can create an online course about teaching people how to write books, and then people will buy that, and you generate money from that. Sell T-shirts. So there are so many things you can do. Again, I'm not going to go into at length, but it's fundamentally putting work into something that will live on the internet and utilizing, I guess what I'm trying to say is like digital products and branding and marketing and yada yada yada, which I think is something that we can all learn from. But yeah, that's fundamentally it. I know the last half of this video has seemed a bit a kind of very bit part and a bit here and there. That's literally because I wrote a script a week ago and then now my laptop's gone. Like I can't find the original file, but I do have the bullet points, so I've been trying to go through it. Um, but yeah, fundamentally, if there are any like gaping holes or things that you really want to know more about, let me know in the comments below. I will, I do read those comments. I always reference it. And I will put out videos addressing like a full length video for each of the things that people want more explanation on, more emphasis on. And yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you guys being here. Hope you enjoyed it. Shout out to Arsenal once again. It's time to partay, if you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, that's basically it. Actually, one final thing that I should talk about that is I guess a bonus tip for those that stayed until the final like 30-minute mark of this video is just to sell things. Like this isn't fully passive, but it's like everyone has stuff that they don't need. I'm looking around now, I can't find much to be fair, because I do this regularly. But if you have like old phones, old video games, old clothes, old bags, old shoes, whatever, put that on eBay. Technically speaking, it's not passive because you've got to put the work in to put it up there. But when you think about it, it's like 30 seconds to 1 minute taking a picture, writing the description, writing the title, putting it up, and then 5 days will pass, 3 days, 7 days, whatever, how long your auction is, all the work is done in the first 30 seconds of putting it up, and then the money comes in later. And if you can get into a habit of doing that, it doesn't even feel like work. It's like, I gotta get rid of these shoes anyway, so why don't I just put them on eBay instead of just leaving them there or throwing them in the bin or giving them to a friend? Like, just put it's not, again, it's not entirely passive, but it is very easy that it might as well be. So that's the final tip. If you have stuff to get rid of, consider selling it. And if you can't sell it, just Google search like, how can I sell batteries? How can I are there any charity shops that would charge me per kg to get rid of stuff? Or you know what I mean. Just do some research. Find ways to leverage even like your rubbish. If you can even make money from throwing stuff away, like recycled paper, profit camp or something, do that. Just look into it. But yeah, that's it from me. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.